Hey writers, Sonia here. I'm enjoying learning all about you, and I'm calling you writers, but I did notice last week that some people really identify strongly as writers and other people don't. And I want you to know that you are all very welcome in this course and you all can make an important contribution. And confession time. I did not identify as a writer in my K through 12 school experiences or my undergraduate, even my graduate. So it took me a long time to say I am a writer and really mean it. And I want you all in this course to know that you are writers. And so in this module, this week, we'll be continuing with this question of who is a writer? And this is a really important question because, as many of you know, well, as you all know, teachers have power, right? And teachers often construct the identities of their students. They often construct an identity of a student that is struggling at something or something that's good at something. I don't know about you, but I knew who the good writers were in my classes. And I knew I wasn't one of them. I didn't belong. And we want everybody to have the power, the privilege, and the joy of being a writer. Now, Shauna Coppola talks about being in the writing club, right? Who are the students that are part of the writing club? And you're going to be reading about that this week in chapter 1. And she identifies 5 more groups of students that are often not considered to be writers. And I'll be interested to hear your thoughts about that. And I hope you enjoy this book. I think it's really, really engaging. I would take a look at the foreword, the introduction, learn a little bit more about the author, and we will come back to those readings later. But I want you to look at chapter 1 this week. And I'm just going to read a little bit of the forward to the book to give you an idea. And I'm using this right now as a mentor text. And a mentor text, we're going to learn a lot about mentor texts in our writing course, is any text, and it could also be not necessarily alphabetic text, it could be a video, poster, but anything that you learn something from is considered a mentor text. And we use them a lot in the writing classroom. We use a lot of picture books, all kinds of different poems and texts that we can learn from as writers. So I love the quote that she uses at the beginning. That he uses, because this is the foreword written by Barry Lane. What kind of a country are we going to have if children do not see themselves as having voices that other people want to hear? And that's a quote from Donald Graves, who's a very famous writing teacher. And I've learned a lot from him in the past. But that's like so important. If we think about our children, if we think about all of you, I want you to have voices. I want you to have power. And writing gives you that. So I like how he starts with a story. And stories have power, right? We all learn from stories really well. That's how we as humans think about the world. So stories you don't have to just be for nonfiction, for fictional texts. You can also use stories in nonfiction texts to get your point across. His name was Joey, and he was a 3rd grader with a mop of hair that seemed to go in all directions at once. He came up to me after a writing assembly I presented at his school and announced, "I am a great writer." We talked for a while as he described the epic novel he had written, complete with illustrations. I kept nodding as he described the intricate, thrilling sci fi plot and the movie script he had started. Happy to see a child as deep into his work of his own imagination. Then, somewhere near the end of our conversation, in the frantic post-assembly gymnasium, just before his teacher asked him to rejoin his class that was queuing near the exit, his eyes dropped, his voice lowered, and he murmured, "I just can't write the way they want you to." I responded with the first thing that popped into my head. Who are they? His eyes remained downcast. The teachers, was all he said before he scampered off to join his class. So, again, I think that makes an important point. Often we can do harm to students when we construct their identities in particular ways that make them feel that they are not good at something. And so part of our important job as a teacher is to empower every student to have a voice and to use writing, and we'll talk about writing in a broad definition, in really, really powerful ways for them. So in this module, we'll be learning more about who is a writer, and you will be doing some writing yourself. This week it's going to be poetry. Can't wait to read your poems.